Hello everyone, Bradley here. For those of you who have never been to the channel before, I am a Civilization 6 content creator and streamer, and recently in some of my streams and some other streams on Twitch, I've been noticing a lot of new players to Civilization 6, and one of the questions they have is, where should I put my districts, and which districts should I build? So, which districts you should build is a question we can answer in a different video, but I wanted to do a quick tutorial, just a very basic beginner level tutorial about where to place your districts, because district placement is an immediate question people have, and it changes the outcome of the game drastically if you do it efficiently. Also, this isn't dissecting which districts you should build in which games. This is just dissecting where to place them. But I just wanted to go over placement because it's easy to explain, it's very, very important, and doing it efficiently can change the outcome of your game drastically. So before we start, there's a few things you need to know about districts. First is the amount of districts your city can build. Your cities can each build one district to start, right off the bat, for one population. Every 3 population after that, which is this number right here, you earn the ability to build another district. Right? So you start with 1. At 4 population, you get a second district. At 7 population, you get a third. At 10 or 11? Yeah, 10 population, you'll get a fourth, if that makes sense. So every 3 population, you get another district. So the next thing we're going to want to do is discuss which districts you want to be careful about where to place. So a lot of the people have this question because they'll click on, let's say, a campus, and a bunch of these numbers will pop up, and they'll be like, what are these numbers? What do they do? How do I know if I'm placing it in the right area? So what's happened is all of these green squares are tiles we own that I can place my district, and all of these bluish hued squares are tiles we could buy to place our district. These numbers here show you a passive boost or a passive income of whatever currency, I don't know if that's the best word, your district gives. So for a campus, these are all the extra science you'll receive. If I click on Commercial Hub, this is all the extra gold you'll receive, if that makes sense so far. Now, you might be wondering, what gives us these numbers? What is it about the game that tells us that this is a +2 science campus, this is a +3 science campus? That is in the Civilopedia. So I recommend for everyone, one of the first things you should do when learning about districts is to click on this question mark up here and then just search them. Right? Let's go look at a holy site. If I go take a look at a holy site, it comes up right here. It tells me everything that gives it an extra little boost. It gives it that passive income. So +2 faith from each adjacent natural wonder tile, +1 faith from each adjacent grassland mountain tile, and etc., etc., etc. So going through all of these and knowing which ones give you these boosts is very, very helpful. And a lot of that comes with time playing, but just familiarizing yourself. Go for a holy site, then go to a campus, and go down here, and you're going to learn everything about campuses, +1 science for every 2 rainforest tiles, +1 science for government plaza, those types of things. You can do that with holy sites, campuses, commercial hubs, theater squares, and industrial zones. You'll see if I click on an aqueduct, it tells me where I can place it, but it doesn't give me any passive boosts. And that's because aqueducts don't give you the passive boosts, if that makes sense. Sorry for hitting the microphone there. So holy sites, campuses, commercial hubs, theater squares, and industrial zones are the ones you're going to want to check out and make sure you know what gives it that boost. The next thing you want to do is understand that the government plaza, you can only place 1 per game, so you can only pick it in 1 spot, but the government plaza automatically gives a +1 boost to any district that it is beside. Right? So if I put this beside a theater square, it gives it an extra culture per turn. If I put this beside a commercial hub, it gives it an extra gold per turn. So what you want to do with your government plaza typically is put it in between as many districts as possible. All right? The next thing we're going to do is we're going to plan out our cities, right? Once you place districts, they're there forever. You can't move them. You can't change them. All right? So you want to make sure you get your placement right the first time. So what might be tempting in a city like Rakadet here is to just click on it and go, ooh, that's a +3. I'm going to put that down. I'm not going to put it there where the +1 is. The problem is you can earn these boosts if you meet the requirements later, right? So this is just telling me which requirements I've met now for these boosts. It's not telling me which ones I'm going to meet later, which is why planning is very important. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to start planning my city. I've put a wonder here because I think a wonder showcases what I'm trying to do the best. So I'm going to start with this campus right up here, okay? And feel free when you do this to remove these things a whole bunch of times. I'm just going to quickly play with it in my head. I'm going to start with this campus. It's in a good central location. I want to build all my districts in the same area because my districts get boosts from being next to each other. Right? So that's where I want to start, is I want to put them close together. I know that. I know this is a good campus right off the bat. +1, +2, +3 for the adjacent mountain tiles. The next thing I want to plan out, and I'm planning by putting a tack down. So I just click map tax, add a tack. I want to put my government plaza right here. Putting my government plaza right here allows me to put 1, 2, 3, 4 districts right next to it to give them a +1 boost. So once this goes down, this +3 campus is now a +4 campus, if that makes sense. Right? When I place it, if I click it, it's just going to say +3, but I know eventually it's going to be a +4 because I'm going to put this government plaza down, which is why the planning is important, because the game doesn't tell you that because it doesn't know you're going to do that. The next thing I know is that commercial hubs, they're going to get a boost from being next to a river, and a boost from being next to a government plaza. So I'm going to put my commercial hub, let's say right here. Let's call it right here. All right, right next to the river, next to the government plaza. That's perfect. Next thing I can do is I know that theater squares get a boost from being next to wonders, right? A +2 boost. Okay, so I'm gonna put my theater square right here because I know it's gonna get that boost. What the game's not telling me though, this is a +2, is that it's gonna get a boost from being next to the government plaza, and it's also gonna get another boost once I put a holy site here. All right, get out of the way, Mr. Pikeman guy. So if I put a holy site right down here, I'm gonna get a theater square boost for being next to 2 districts. So this +2 becomes a +3 for getting the boost for having 2 districts beside it, +4 for having the government plaza, if that makes sense to everyone. So what I've done here is I've maximized each district to give it the best possible chance of giving me a passive boost. Now, you might be asking, why did I put so many districts down? When you're playing Civ, what you want to do is you want to try and figure out how many districts you're going to reasonably get to place in each city. I would say a general rule is cities early in the game, very early, like your first 2, you might be able to get 5 districts down by the end of the game. Maybe 5. This is ambitious, but this is an early city. I got lots of population, so 5 seems good. If you're settling a city 100 turns into the game, they don't have as long to grow. They don't have as long to build those districts, right? So you're probably looking at closer to 3 districts as an optimistic kind of guess. And very late in the game, if you're building cities after turn 200, you're probably looking at 1, maybe 2 districts, right? So you just want to figure out, hey, if I put this city down at turn 200, I'm not going to be able to build all of this. So your goal is to just always do your best with your district. So let's put this campus down. No, stay over here, game. Let's put this campus down. It's a +3 campus. I'm going to remove the tack. I'm going to see you on the other side to show you how this works when I put the government plaza down. All right, welcome back, everyone. I have my campus down. If we click on the city and we click on the toggle city details, it's showing me that I'm getting +3 science per turn for having this campus right here. So what that means is I'm generating 3 science per turn in my empire for no reason other than that's just where I placed my district, if that makes sense. If I placed it way over here in the middle of nowhere with no boosts, I'd be generating no science per turn. That's why placing your districts is really, really important. If you get a +3 campus in 8 cities, that's 24 science per turn that you're getting just passively for having done nothing other than thought about it for a minute. So It's really, really important that we've done that. We got a +3 campus. I'm one turn away from putting my government plaza down. So let's see what the government plaza does to this campus. Sweet, government plaza is done. This should now be a +4 campus. If I've done this properly, I know that I get 1, 2, 3 from the mountains, and I know that I get 1 from government plaza. So if I click on this again, now it's +4, right? So you just need to know that that's going to happen, which is why going into the Civilopedia is really, really important, right? Because when we place this, remember it said +3. Now, the next test for us is going to be whether this says +3 or not. Remember, earlier this only said +2. Now that I think about it, this is probably going to say +4 because it's going to be next to a government plaza and your city counts as a second district. So this should go from a +2 earlier when we clicked on it. Is it going to say +4? It is going to say +4. So earlier it said +2. Now that we've got the government plaza down, it's a +4. Okay? Because now what we've done is just because we've thought about it, we're going to generate +4 science per turn, +4. It'll be +5 once we get the holy site and the commercial hub down. So I'm not going to build these districts because I don't want it to be too long. But what I did want to show off was the mechanics behind it. All right? So if you place this campus and meet the government plaza requirement later, this then upgrades to that +4 campus instead of the +3. So you don't need to meet the requirements right away. So you might find yourself in a situation where you're placing what looks like a really bad district, but you know that once you meet these requirements later, that it'll upgrade into that good district you are looking for. Now, the next thing you need to think about is which order you should place these, right? Because obviously right now I'm generating the science, but I'm not generating the culture. If I had placed the culture, if I had placed the theater square first, I'd be getting the +2 culture, but not the science. So that's dependent on your game. That's dependent on what you need. We'll talk about that in a different video. So you can build these in any order you like. So I would build just in whatever you think you need for whatever skill level you're at. If you're like, hey, I really need science, I'm behind, put the campus down first. If you're like, hey, you know what, I need another trade route or I need more gold, put the commercial hub down first. You've planned this, you know this is what you want to do. Just have fun with the game, don't overthink it. But planning this has given us a bunch of really good districts instead of just putting them kind of wherever, right? And it's really made a difference. Now, what I want to show down here is a separate interaction. I'm going to do this in reverse. So I'm going to see you on the other side once this campus is built right here. Awesome. All right, we're here down in this city, and I have placed down a +5 campus. All right. So it's a +5 campus because there's 2 adjacent rainforest tiles. That gives me +1. +2 for this mountain. +3 for this mountain. And then +4 and +5, because this geothermal fissure here gives us +2. So that's how we're getting +5 here. What I wanted to show is that you can take requirements away and actually lose this +5. So right now I'm getting +1 because of these 2 rainforest tiles. If I chop this rainforest tile out... Oh, I gotta remove the improvement. Whoops! This is embarrassing. 1 second here. We'll go next turn. Yeah, all cool. Perfect. If I chop this rainforest tile and I get rid of it, what's going to happen to this campus is it's going to go down to a +4, if that makes sense. So what I've done is I placed a really good district. +4 is still really good. But I've taken away one of the requirements that was giving it that boost, and now it's lost the boost. So it does work in reverse. If you meet the requirements later, it gives you the boost later, but if you take them away, it also takes away the boost you were getting, if that makes sense. When you're placing your districts, as a general rule of thumb, +3 is a really good district, right? So if I can get all these districts to +3, that's ideal. Obviously, if I have to get like a +2 or a +1 to get a +5, that's fine. Again, it's so subjective and based on your individual game. But I'd say if you're getting as many +3 districts as possible, that is a good metric for whether you're placing down a really good district or not. Right? In some cities, it's just impossible to get +3. It's impossible to plan like this. This is what was ideal terrain. I don't have any resources blocking me, so this worked out really well. Some cities, it's not possible, so don't stress out about it. But what I was hoping is that this is just a little tutorial on how to plan your districts. Now, the next thing I'd like to do is I'd like to show you a separate way I could have done this entire city. Alright, I'm back, everyone, and this wasn't perfect because I couldn't load farther back enough to not at least have already placed the campus. But what I wanted to show you is just that each city is really just a playground for whatever you want it to be. You'll notice that I've gotten rid of all the old districts I have, and I could plan this out to have 3 completely new districts and still be a decent city. So what I've done is I've focused this planning around the industrial zone. I know that the industrial zone gets boosts from being next to an aqueduct and next to a dam. Right? So I found a place I can build an aqueduct and a dam. Right? So I'm going to build the aqueduct. That'll take 3 turns. And I'll see you when I've got the aqueduct and the dam down. Alright, so the aqueduct is done. And the dam is not. So let's take a look at what this industrial zone is going to look like. I'm getting +3. Okay, I know that I'm getting +3 because it's adjacent to 2 districts. Your city counts as a district for the purposes of counting this. So it's adjacent to 1 district and 2 districts, which gives it +1. It's also adjacent to an aqueduct, which gives it another +2 for a +3. And I can tell if I hover over this, +1 from the adjacent district, +2 from the adjacent aqueduct district. So that's perfect. So I was correct on that. That's how you tell. I forgot to mention this earlier, but if you hover over this little thing here, it'll tell you where you're getting that number from, and that'll help you understand where your boosts are coming from. Right? So when I build this dam, it should be a +5. All right, so let's go test that out. All right, so we're back. The aqueduct is done. The dam is done. This should be a +5 industrial zone. +5. Now it'll say the exact same thing, but it'll give it an extra +2 for the adjacent dam district. All right, so I hope that kind of shows you 2 different ways you can district this city to do 2 completely separate things, but to still make sure you're planning your city in a way that makes sense and that gives you as many boosts as possible. The last thing I want to mention about this setup is, again, you can build the industrial zone first at +0 and then add the aqueduct and the dam to get it to +5. Right? You don't have to do it in this order to get the boost. That once the requirements are met, whenever they're met, you upgrade to that boost. So just do it in whatever order you feel good. You need these 2 down to make this industrial zone a +5, but you can put this down before it's a +5 and add these 2 later. All right? So I hope that made sense for everyone. I hope that was a little bit of introduction to districting. This was just the first video in about 2 or 3 videos I'm hoping to do on districts to really make it more clear about what you should be building, when you should be building them, and where you should be placing them, right? So this covered a lot of where you should place them, how the boosts work, going to the Civlopedia to check on which boosts you can get for what. All right, so I hope this video was helpful. This is also my first kind of tutorial-ish video, so I hope you guys found it helpful. If you did, feel free to leave a like rating on the video. That would be super helpful. And also subscribe. We do a lot of Let's Plays. We have a Twitch stream, and we will have more tutorial videos like this coming out soon. So I hope this was helpful for you guys. Also, if you have any questions, feel free to definitely pop them in the YouTube comments below. There are so many people in the Civ community that would be willing to help you out. And the last thing I want to reiterate before I see you guys off is that this was not a tutorial. Definitely not a tutorial about which districts you should be building and in what order you should be building them. This was just to show you kind of how the boosts work and that you can get your boosts once you meet the requirements, and if you take away the requirements, those boosts get taken away as well. So it was just meant to show you the interactions and the map tax and what a little bit of planning can do for your empire. Otherwise, thank you guys so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed the video. We'll see you in the next one.